Hello there, it's Francis here from Generational Wealth Academy. Now on today's video, I'm basically going to be giving you a brief introduction to the Ichimoku Kinko Hyo, which is a Japanese term. It's a system for trading Forex, as some of you might know. It might be new to some of you, but it's a system, a trading system as it were. The reason why I would say it's a system as opposed to an indicator is that it's got lots of various components to it. Even as you can see here, it seems very busy. I mean, when I first saw it, I thought to myself, how can you ever trade using this system? But yes, you can indeed, do that, and that's basically what we are looking to, what I'm looking to show you today. This is most likely going to be a two-part series, a two-part video series. Maybe three, but I'll try and keep it to a two-part video. Now, just briefly looking at some of the components of this Ichimoku system, we start with the cloud, because the Ichimoku system is otherwise referred to as the cloud, because that, as it were, maybe is one of the very prominent feature on the system. Now, the cloud, or the Kumo as it is called, in the Japanese term for cloud, you can see, where we are at now, where my cursor is, you have the Kumo as red. The cloud here is red. The cloud in the future is green, which speaks of it being bullish in the future. But you can see this is where we are at now. The price or the candle is above the red Kumo. So it's bearish at the moment. The buyers is bearish at the moment. Even as you can see, I'm currently in. I've taken sell positions on here. 2 trades, and I'm 25 pips up. Now, this is hopefully going to drop, perhaps as low as here. It's going to drop as low as this bit. Before it begins to go up in the future. Now, this is where we are at now. So in about 5 hours time, because we are on the 1 hour candle, in about 5 hours time, the price will begin to go up. So we're looking at it dropping, all the way down, keep on dropping for the next 5 hours, and then it will begin to go up 5, 6, 7 hours. It will then begin to go up. So this is the Kumo. That's the the number one component I would like to make mention of. But then you have this green wiggly line, which is called the Chiku span. It's called the Chiku span. I mean, if I do have time on this video, I would explain how to use that or how to trade with that. So we have the Chiku span. Let me just put my cursor on it so you can see what it's called. Okay, you can see at the bottom there, Chiku span. I'm sure you can see that. Then you have the red wiggly line, which is the Tinkin Sen. Let me just put my cursor. You can see at the bottom of that box, Tinkin Sen. And then you have the blue wiggly line, which is called the Kinjun Sen, even as you can also see there at the bottom. So those are the 4 main components. You have the cloud, 1, the Chiku span, 2, the Tinkin Sen, 3, and the Kinjun Sen, 4. Those are the 4 main components. Now, these are not exactly moving averages as you know them traditionally. These wiggly lines are not moving averages, so don't confuse them, as moving averages per se. So what have I done here? I mean, I entered this trade initially using price action. I basically entered this trade initially using a different strategy, but then I came and turned on my I then applied my Ichimoku to it, and it basically confirmed the fact that I was right. The buyers, or the trend was going to be to the downside for at least a period of time. So that was why I basically have actually taken a second position. I might enter a third sell position, but sell position, I would see how that goes. Now, just to quickly look at something else, you might wonder, if I was to trade with just the Ichimoku, if I didn't know anything about price action, if I knew nothing about price action and I was to trade using just the Ichimoku, how would I sorry about this. Let me move this away. Okay, let's just move that out of the way for now. That is one of my alerts, coming up at this time. So if I didn't know anything about price action or any other strategy, if all I knew was how to use the Ichimoku system, how would I trade this? Okay, since I've taken a bearish stance here, and how do I know how far it's going to go? So you can see the Chiku span basically is this green line. Like I said, I would basically mirror the Chiku span, because even as you can see here, price mirrors the Chiku span, or you could say the Chiku span mirrors price. This is where it is. You can see it's wiggly at the moment, is moving up and down. It lines up with where the price currently is. So they mirror each other. As a matter of fact, I would take credit, for coming up with that coin, for coming up with that phrase, or for coining that phrase, the Chiku span mirror. The Chiku span mirror, or if you like, the price mirror of the Chiku span. I remember not too long ago, when I was being taught how to use this, myself and many others in the class, my Ichimoku mentor, as I will call her, basically was explaining. It was my turn to actually go on the screen to try and see if I had understood what was being taught. And as my mentor was basically explaining things to me, it dawned on me that the price, what she was trying to say was that the price was mirroring the Chiku span, which is this green line. And I asked her, I said, oh, does it mean the price is mirroring the Chiku span? And she says, that's it exactly. Exactly, Francis, that's what's happening. And from then on, myself and others have basically been using the term the Chiku span mirror, or the price mirroring the Chiku span. Now, looking at this now, this is basically where the price is, and that's where the Chiku span is. If you go to the left, if you go backwards, you can see the cloud is going into the future. It is sometimes known as the prophetic cloud, because it tells you what's going to happen in the future. It tells you where the price is going to go in the future. But the Chiku span, as it were, tells you where the price has been. So this is where the price is now. If you were to follow it and trace it back, it tells you where the price has been. So going with this now, if this is the price, if you were to go with it, if you were to mirror it, you'll see that it will tell you that the price was here at some point, which you can tell. This is where we are now. The price was here at some point in the past, and it was obviously even at the bottom at some point. So basically, if you were to mirror this, it will tell you where the price could possibly go. So if you were to go with that, it will tell you where the price was in the past. Let's take this off, and where it could possibly go in the future. So this obviously could give you an idea of how to trade this. Now, looking at this, even as I said, I'm going to be doing a two-part video. This is currently coming up to 10 minutes on this video. I will basically, give it till maybe, tomorrow. I'll come back and do a part 2, just to perhaps, if you like, confirm that my interpretation of how to trade this was indeed correct. So take note of where the price is here now. As a matter of fact, I'm going to mark it. Let me just mark it. Let me just mark it here and call it A. I'll call it A. let me use a different color. Let me use one of my favorite MT4 color, magenta. Maybe I'll make it bigger so there's no missing it. Come on now, let's make it size 20, make it massive. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. So that's where the price is. We'll come back to this tomorrow just to see how the price has played out. So you can expect, even as the price does not move in a straight line, it comes out weekly. It is gonna, basically come all the way down here and way up. I would hope to come out at some point, maybe somewhere around here. So from here to maybe here would most likely be about 100 pips or so. I'm looking to get about 100 pips on this one. But as I have entered 2 positions, that will probably come up to 200 pips. So when it gets here, I will then trade it up here, for another 60 pips or so. Anyway, I'll leave this as this, and I'll come back to it tomorrow. Okay now. God bless.